Okay. Okay, so yes, today we will be doing chaining anchors. And you said you had a question for me?
Yeah, so when we are in session with a client and they like in that scripting, it said, I'm gonna touch your knuckles. So if we're doing it like virtual, we gonna say like, imagine me touching your knuckles, or do we just skip that part?
No, we tell them if typically, basically, I'm going to instruct you on how to touch your own knuckles.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So I'm gonna go on mute now and I'll be listening.
Okay. Approximately how long does it take you to get to your destination?
About 15, 20 minutes.
Okay. I can't tell you, probably so, but I'm gonna try not to talk that long just because it's the third iteration of anchors. I'll get you pretty darn close where someone else will start probably doing their presentation of it. And so let me open up my script. Good evening, everyone.
Hello.
Welcome.
Hi, Taisha. Hi, Shamika. I just commented on your post, Taisha. Congratulations, girl. Congratulations.
Thank you, beautiful.
Thank you. Hi, Shamika. How you doing?
To you too.
I'm good. Thank you.
Hi, Shamika.
ChaVonne, how you doing?
Oh, you're so cute. Look at you.
Thank you.
Y'all don't stop loving on each other. Y'all keep going.
How you doing, ChaVonne? I was asking you, I guess all the talking you didn't hear me. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I thought y'all was talking amongst each other. I was like, y'all keep giving each other love. I'm feeling the love. Come on now. Don't stop till you get enough.
Yes.
Okay, so I believe this is on page like 123, 124. I'm almost there myself.
Oh, you're at 128.
All right. 120. Yes, 128. So today we will be chaining anchors. I know everyone here will be able to do this effortlessly. It takes what you learn how to stack an anchor and then what you've learned in collapsing an anchor, and then it adds its own little twist to it. But pretty much you're stacking an anchor, and then or you're stacking 4 anchors, and then you're collapsing them, which really they say chaining them, but you're chaining them, which is similar to the same thing you learn when you collapsed them. So I will walk you through like a demonstration, going through the script so that you can see what kind of takes place. And then, of course, as always, then I'll turn it over to you guys so that you're able to practice and then ask any questions. I just know that you guys are gonna rock this out tonight. And with chaining anchors, this is where when someone has a state that is not serving them, and then they want to, change that state, but when they're like really far apart. So if they're close enough together, you can go ahead and you can collapse it. And then if it's like really where it's night and day, it's really far apart, then you can go ahead and use this to get them to that point where they're trying to get. And so we like to use the example of when you are procrastinating and you're trying to get to motivation. And so if you were to try to collapse that may be so far in between, there could be some things coming up for your client. And so this is really good to help them work through, because how realistic is it to just say, okay, well, now that I have this motivation anchor, now procrastination is just going to go out the window. Yes, I can tap into motivation whenever I want to, but that's more so of, okay, I'm ready to be motivated. Here it is. I'm hitting that anchor. Whereas if it's something that is not serving me, I don't want to say it's a behavior, it's a pattern that I have with this procrastination. This is a quick way to take me from where I am, because it comes up. Let's say I procrastinate when it comes to answering my emails. So now me just, firing off my anchor to be motivated to do the emails is one thing, versus now I've used this technique to really get to the root of it. And that's what we do with NLP. We get to the root of it to have them have a method in which now by using the chaining of the anchors, you really get to have a strong state of the anchor, because you've put in the intention and a method in which now they know when it's time for me to sit down. Typically when I'm procrastinating, now I know the path that I'm going to take, the new path that I'm going to take from being procrastinating about my emails to now being motivated to do my emails. And listen, motivation, let's say we haven't chained motivation yet. And let's say they just have the motivation anchor stacked. Well, the state of motivation that I'm looking for in life, and in that moment that I remember when I was totally motivated, that state may be a different level of motivation when I might want focused motivation. That's why I'm tying this to a specific thing that I'm not motivated to do. I procrastinate when it comes to these emails, and now I'm going to chain this anchor so that I can be focused in a way that I'm motivated to do my emails. So I'm going to stop there. Are there any questions there? Okay, great. And so I think everyone except for potentially Shamika was there when I talked about all the anchors before we started. When the first day we did, or the first time we were together and we did stacked, I went through and I talked about, this is when you use a stack, this is when you use collapse, this is when you use chain. And so I'm just knowing there's no right or wrong. It's just pulling what you think is going to be best for whatever your client is going through. And sometimes all you have time to do is just give them to that one stack. And then later on, you can come back and get to the root of it all. And so typically your dominant hand is the one where you've stacked, or you've put all your positive anchors on, where you're really using them. And so for this, I just use the opposite, where the hand that they probably don't have any anchors on. And if they happen to have anchors on both, then you just go to the second set of knuckles. And then if need be, the third set of knuckles. I can't see myself, so I don't know what y'all see. Hold on. Yeah, there we go. The last little set of, good thing I had some nail polish on today for y'all. I got my hands all up in the camera and stuff, but I know y'all not judges. It could be flaking and busted and disgusted. And y'all have been like, yeah, we just come to get the information. We ain't come to look at your nails. I appreciate y'all. I appreciate y'all. So meanwhile, I know one of y'all have been DMing Dr. Nicole, you're talking about, I'm gonna need you to slide her a little change for them nails for when she on there. I know that's okay. That's okay. I don't mind at all. So, but again, you're able to use alternate knuckles. We have like basically 3 series of them. And so use them all. So that's that. I'm going to get into the script. We always follow the script, even when sometimes your trainer gets a little brain fog and say, oh, I think you're supposed to do X, Y, Z. Follow the script. And if there is ever a discrepancy or something missing from the script, as you guys can see, I report back and we get those changes updated. Other than that, if afterwards, if there is not a new iteration or an update to one of the scripts, follow the script. The script will do you no wrong. Again, sometimes when we get out here in the real world and you're at the master or trainer level, when you kind of take a veer off from the script, that sometimes can get you a little bit on the foggy side. And so again, at practitioner level, make sure you always follow the script. Okay, so on page 128, I will get into the script.
I have a question, ChaVonne, if you don't
Go
mind.
for it. Go for it.
So regarding the knuckles, if one hand already has knuckles, we can use the second set of knuckles. How do we, what's the way of remembering which anchor, like, you know, because we have a few anchors on, like, let's say I have like 5 anchors on one hand, right? Like how, like, I'm just trying to find, because I remember we did one and I can't remember which one of them for me was positive, which one was bold. So I just keep tapping on one knuckle, but I don't remember which knuckle was which one and which emotion tied to it. So just how we can differentiate.
So when we stacked, we only stacked on one knuckle.
Okay.
So it's just going to be that one. It's just all those emotions.
Okay.
When we collapse, it's really not. We're just using the knuckles to work through the modality. We're not necessarily stacking one state, one final state. We're just we're just stacking temporarily, I guess I would say. We're stacking the negative state, then the positive state, and then we're counteracting the negative with the positive state. And then that's just used to basically cancel out, collapse that negative state. And so then, and then here it is with the collapsing, the chaining of the anchors. We're not really stacking that other than that last and final one, that if they want to keep that last, or I say last, they want to keep that where it is, where they can kind of use it to remember the different states that were chained, their process, their new way of doing that. If because the old way is not working, then that can happen. But I like to think on the subconscious level, especially in terms of chaining anchors, them figuring out that new process is going to be just as effective as them trying to do the anchor. So I say all that to say, if you have active anchors that you use, which you should use them, because the more you use them, the stronger they get, then you're great. But if you stacked an anchor, or you did an anchor 6 months ago and you haven't used it since then, chances are it's probably not as strong. And so you can go ahead and restack and redo things. And if you're working with a client long-term, this is where having those client notes come into play, because if I stacked, I have a client last month, we stacked an anchor. Did we stack or did we collapse? I can't remember, but I could go to my notes and I could tell you. But let's say we stacked an anchor, I would have that in my notes. And so maybe 3 months from now, I may set up in our call to reestablish that anchor again so that we can strengthen it. And so just in case by chance, we did stack an anchor. I remember because we actually did it to a special ring that he wears. So, so then I will go back probably 3 months from now and make sure we do it again, just to give it strength, just to reiterate it to him. And then that's also another, let's say you're not working with someone for 3, 6, 12 months, maybe you're only working with them for 8 weeks. That may be something that you do, you did in week 3, and now as a closeout, you want to double strengthen it. So there's different ways to do that. Although we're talking about chaining anchors tonight, but that's to answer your question. Y'all know y'all asked a question for me. I'm gonna give y'all all different type of scenarios on what it is and what it ain't. All right, I don't see any more hands up. I am getting better at that. I don't see anybody at the door that I need to let in. Let's see here. Does everyone, or will everyone have their script? Because I did not bring it up on my laptop, but I can do that in the future. Once the person starts going, I'll bring it up if we need it. Other than that, let me get into the script. So on page 128, as it says, you start off through conversation with your client, figuring out what the problem state is, and then deciding the positive state that they want in the end. For tonight's purposes, and to be consistent, we will be doing that of procrastination. And as I talk through this, you guys feel free to pick whatever it is you want. And then the positive state is motivation. And so then, as always, as practitioners, we get unconscious permission. Is it all right with your unconscious mind for you to let go of the problem state today and for you to be consistent, consciously aware of it? And then we get conscious permission. In just a moment, we're going to do a process called chaining anchors. And this means you'll need to touch your knuckles. I'll walk you through that. Is that okay? You see how I switched that up? Oh, there is a raised hand. Go for it.
Hi, ChaVonne. So my question is, I'm sorry, I couldn't raise my hand in time. You were talking about like having a client for 8 weeks or 8 months, maybe a year. When do we know when to close out that file? Because I know like with therapists, after a client hasn't came to them for so long, they close out that file. So do you know, like, when do we close it out instead of keeping it going just, due to like digital cluttering and all of that stuff?
And in masters, we have some parts where we talk about systems, and I'll be actually teaching that segment.
Okay.
And the right answer is whatever the heck you want to do.
Okay.
Just document it and be consistent with how you do that. If you do your annual, if you do 6 times and you're out, whatever that is. If there's you move them from active to inactive to close, whatever it is you decide, but there is no right or wrong. But the beautiful part of being an entrepreneur and you being not only a trained professional in NLP, but being a trained professional in whatever area of your expertise before you decided to step into entrepreneurship, you get to use that expertise to know what's right. I think your background is in medical, so there's certain stipulations on how long you keep certain information. If you want to pull from that and bring that into your coaching business, go right ahead, because there's already rhyme and reason to why the medical field does the things the way they do it. And if that's what's comfortable for you, why? You pay for that education too, right? So let's bring it all together, merge it all together for your excellence.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for the answer.
Yeah, go for it.
And just to piggyback off of what you just said, ChaVonne, regarding the medical field, because one second, sweetheart, I work in the medical field as well, and in clinics, doctors, like, what if you miss an appointment like 3 times? Like, let's say you book an appointment, you cancel after 3 times, then you would need now a new referral from your physician to come back to the clinic. Sometimes, even if you haven't been seen in 2 years, like maybe you miss a few appointments, but if you're not active in the clinic for 2 years, you need a new referral. So yes, I that was a good point you brought up, and I'm gonna kind of have a mental thought about that for my business, because I think that actually is a good approach as well. I never thought about that, but yeah, you can still carry that over and implement it in your business. That's right. So I just wanted to
and yeah, and here's the thing, you can choose to do nothing, to say, okay, if once they stop, and then I just add nothing else to their file. There is no right or wrong to this, and that's the beauty of it. All right, and so after we have gotten unconscious and gotten conscious, now this is the fun part. We get to design the chain. And so we get to decide on what intermediate states are needed to lead them to the end state, the positive state that they want to be. And so you as the coach, you're saying you're procrastinating. What gets you out of procrastination? And then they'll say a word. And so while they're saying these words, you're paying attention. Once again, this is when you're anchoring. And as a coach, probably in everything that we do, you're paying attention to visual acuity. What is their posture? What is their tone? What's happening in their face when they say these different things? And so the big thing with this is you want to make sure that not only is it they're moving towards something that's going to get them to that positive state, but also that it is action. It is something that has some movement to it, that it doesn't bring them to a stall. It doesn't bring them to a stopping point. It doesn't slow down the movement of them getting to that positive state. So here, if the person says boredom, then from there you say, okay, good. And what gets you out of boredom? And so if they would have said, well, from procrastination, I go to boredom. From boredom, I go to, taking a nap. You'll be like, okay, that's probably moving backwards instead of moving forward. But if they say, when I'm bored, I meditate. Now that's something that, is moving them closer to a more positive state. Not saying getting your rest is not a good thing, but you guys understand where I'm coming from with this. So napping and motivation, I just want more rest sometimes when I rest. But again, your client, they're all in all, there is no right or wrong, but we want to set them up for success. And then after that, so they say after a state of boredom, then comes curiosity. And then you're like, okay, very good. And once you get out of curiosity, what happens? Then I feel motivated. So again, checking in, letting your client drive the boat to where they're in and their positive state is flat out, but making sure you're checking in with it to make sure. And then comes the next part. And of course, along the way, you're documenting the words that they're saying. And you want to make sure that this chain is different than how they do it now. So you're like, oh, okay, so when you think about being procrastinating, let me stick to the script here. How is this how you try to do it now? And if they say no, then you go on to step number 7. And if they say yes, this is exactly what I'm doing now, so that's good. Let's find a new way to go about doing that. And then you just go back through step number 4. From there, you get into each state, you elicit it. We know that what that script is. And so it says here, you may have to stack all states to get a high intensity. I'll go with that is there's a few things with that is if let's say we may want to stack boredom like two times, have them get and elicit that and stack that on the knuckle that you're stacking boredom on a few times. You may have to go through and stack them. You went through each of them twice, but then when you go through it again, they're still not able to move. They really haven't anchored in those states. Then you could go through again and restack on each of those knuckles, the procrastination, the boredom, the curiosity, and the motivation. So all of that is saying is don't be afraid to go back and restack the states so that they become stronger and more intense. Whether you do it all over again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, or if you do 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 2, 2, 3, 3, 3, 4, 4, 4. All right. So then remembering after you do each time you do one, you break state. So you do procrastination, and then you break state, then you go ahead and you do boredom, then you break state, and so on. And then comes the test. And so now you've stacked each of the 4, and then I gotta see me again because I don't know what y'all see. So now you're taking, and I'll go this way, and you're just testing each of them to make sure, and you're watching using visual acuity. And then again, because you're virtually, you're gonna say, hey, make sure your knuckles are into the camera where I can see them. Go ahead and I'm letting somebody in. Go ahead and stack this is where you'll stack your boredom. This is where this is where you'll stack your procrastination. You'll go ahead, your second knuckle, you'll go ahead and do boredom. Your third knuckle, you'll do curiosity. And then your last knuckle is where you will do motivation. So again, making sure that, and then again, in anchors, making sure you give them great instructions on, I'll let you know when to press down at your peak and then press up, and making sure that they're using it as a button and up. And you are, again, they're not practitioners like you, so you will have to say, go ahead. While you're saying the script, you'll tell them to go ahead, press down. You're watching as they're riding the wave and lift up. And again, making sure that naturally, because it happens all the time, their knuckles are gonna come out of the frame. You're gonna say, okay, and now we're gonna break, when you break state, make sure you have them bring their knuckles back up, but you'll naturally find places to remind them to bring their knuckles back into the frame when you're doing this virtually. Talked about break stage, we talked about testing. And so now you are going to chain them. And this is where first you tested them to make sure each were, you can test all 4, you can test the 2 or the 3, you feel free to do that. And then so now, again, much like collapsing the anchor. So now here we fired off the procrastination. We wait for that, and then we go on over to the boredom. From there, we're going on over to curiosity. And then from there, we're ending with the motivation. And we're chaining that, watching them go through whatever that is, using our visual acuity, using making sure we pay attention to their physicality, the way their lips are, because each way along the way, again, we get to see what that looks like. And so now once you've chained it together, you want to test. And so fire the present state anchor, and then the client should end up in the final and desired state automatically. So you say, I'm going to fire off procrastination anchor, and notice that you immediately go into state at the end. So here, I started here with the procrastination. I'm gonna, after I've now chained it, so hopefully by me chaining it, I've stacked them all there. They worked, they were at high intensity. So I took those high intensities and then I chained them so that they could go through the system. They could go from each one to the other. And so now I'm testing it, because now I've linked them, so to speak. I've chained them together. So I should be able to just hit this one, and now automatically the chain is fired off. And so I hit or have them hit the procrastination. And then I ask, okay, so from me testing it, now how do you feel about that old problem you used to have? How is it different now? And then you get to future paste it. Can you think of a time in the future, which it had happened in the past, you would have been feeling like you were procrastinating, and now tell me what happens instead. And so everyone's different, but the ultimate thing that we're looking for is when we test it, we want them to automatically really pop from procrastination and go into motivation. Because we want them to have quickly be able to ride that wave through, procrastination, boredom, curiosity, motivation. Some people are a little bit different. And you can see that between boredom and curiosity, that might be a sticking place for them. And so just go back, add in the boredom and the curiosity again, rechain the anchor, and then test it and do all those other things. So again, I think for tonight's purposes, we're all in this and we're used to really pulling in these emotions. But I just want you guys to know that once you know the script, going backwards or forward, rewinding or fast forwarding, you know how to do it. And it's okay. And you're following the script. So that is it. Who's gonna go first? And you know, I'm always here to help you all along the way, so you're never alone.
I could go first.
All right. Do you have any questions before you start? Because we're gonna find you, someone's gonna raise their hand and volunteer to be your client.
Okay. No, I don't have any questions.
All right. I know you like, I'm ready. I came ready. Go ahead, Shamika girl. I'm gonna sit back. I should have had me some wine or something. Shamika about to go on. Y'all don't need me here. I'm just gonna turn my camera off. But let me see who raised their hand. I don't have anyone raise a hand. Anybody? Erica, Taisha, Andrea. All right.
I'm sorry, I just made it. I could do it. So.
Oh, no, we already got a hand up. So, but I'll
Okay.
keep you in mind. You get to do next. Very good. You
Okay.
volunteered to be the next practitioner. Very good. All
Okay.
right.
Okay, Andrea, you ready?
I'm ready, girl.
All right. Okay, so what is the problem state that you're trying to focus on today, and the positive state at the end that you're wanting?
So the problem state that I want to deal with today is to overcome the fear of going live. So fear, anxiety of going live.
Okay.
Going live more for teaching. Like I go live for my personal stuff, it's easy, but when I'm gonna go teach, that's where the fear comes in. So overcoming fear to go live.
Okay, so your problem state is fear.
Mhm.
And what is your end state, your positive state?
Confidence.
Okay.
Confidence.
All right. And is it all right with your unconscious mind for you to let go of your fear and for you to be consciously aware of it?
Yes.
Okay. In just a moment, we're going to do a process called chaining anchors. And that means I'll need you to touch your knuckles. Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay. I do have a question on designing the chain. So I just follow this and have she'll answer for the client.
That's correct.
Okay.
And whatever her answer is, and I mean, your memory might be better than mine, but then you may want to just jot down what those things are.
Okay. All right, Andrea. So we're going to decide on what intermediate states are needed to land your end state. So your fear, what gets you out of fear?
Procrastination.
Okay. Good. And what gets you out of procrastination?
Lack of motivation.
Okay, good. And what gets you out of lack of motivation?
Gets me out of lack of motivation. Then, okay, lack of motivation. So what would get me out of that lack of motivation? Then I would like research. So I would start like trying to research on how I can reduce the fear that I have. So like, yeah, so lack of motivation, then I would be kind of more a curiosity, I guess, but that's not the word I want to use. More like I would then kind of like empower myself. Yes, so that's what I would do. Yeah, so empower myself.
Okay. So empower through research. Is
Yes,
that correct?
exactly.
Okay. Now, makes sense. Is this how you try to do it now? Like in that order you told me?
Yes.
Okay. Good. So let's find a way to get you from procrastination to that's different from how you already do it. Sorry, you said to confidence.
That's right.
Okay. So what will get you, what else other than lack of or procrastination would get you out of fear?
Get me out of fear is I wouldn't go live. I'll just record a video. Like I'll record a regular video behind the scenes and just post the video. So that's what, instead of going live, that's what would get me out of procrastination, because then I would not feel the fear. So I'll get rid of the fear by just doing a regular video and then uploading it without having to really be live. So I'll do everything to not go live for that, basically.
So I'm gonna help you out here. Okay, Taisha. So does that mean you go from being fear to taking action?
Or I think Andrea.
Yeah, Andrea. Yeah.
I was saying Taisha left a message. I was responding to her message, but then I was answering the question.
Oh, okay.
That's that ADHD brain. I'm multitasking here. Yes. But would you say, and I'm probably threw you off by saying someone else's name, but would you say that you're saying from fear, you're going to action?
From fear, I'm going to the easy routes. Like from fear, it leads me to procrastination.
So from fear to ease. Because
Yes.
you're looking for one word.
Okay, yes. So yeah, to ease.
From fear to ease. Okay, go ahead, Shamika. I just wanted to help you out there.
Okay. And then get into okay, so I'm gonna have, so is this where she on number 7? Do I go to 7?
I'm not sure if you have her design yet. So from fear, she goes to ease. From ease, she goes, what's next?
Are
Okay,
we still designing the chain? Are we still designing the chain? Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So from fear to ease, and what gets you out of ease?
Okay, that's the question. The formulation of the question, like for you, ChaVonne, like to understand when it says what gets you out of it. Like, can you like simplify that question so I can understand really what the question is being asked? Like, how do I get out? So how do I get? I can't answer the question. I'm not understanding the.
Right. So when you're feeling fear around going live, what needs to happen next that moves you from being fearful to whatever that is?
Okay, perfect. Okay, I got it. Thank you. I was like, okay, so now what gets me out of ease would be, I would then record then I would take action.
Okay.
Yeah, because I'm trying to go the easy route. So now I figured out the easy route. Then I'm going to take action to back that up. So I'll just record a video privately. And then from there, I would post the video. So then I'll feel motivated. I did something. I was able to do the work, but not the way that I really want to do it, which is going live. I still uploaded a video, but it wasn't, the fear was no longer there, because then I end up just doing it behind the scenes, and I felt a bit less fearful about it. So it's just taking the more comfortable route for me right now, which is that way. So fear, ease, take action, and then confidence.
I have another question. So of that they're supposed to have for the state. Can you hear me?
I can hear you with some feedback. Go ahead again, please.
I said, is there a certain amount of that they're supposed to have? Like, you know how she has fear, ease, take action, then to confidence?
We try to get it in 4. And so in the beginning, if you have a client, like her first initial, she went from fear to procrastination to
Lack of
motivation.
I would have combined those. Procrastination is lack of motivation. So I would have just made it one.
Okay.
So there's that's what you can do. You can kind of, talk them through to get it down to just the 4.
Okay. So now she has 4 of them. So then we go to the illicits, or the state, the number 7. Okay. So get into each state as you elicit and anchor each state separately, beginning with the present state through the end state. So your fear, ease, take action, and confidence. So we're gonna anchor your first state. Can you remember a time when you felt totally fearful?
Yes.
Okay. And then, so can you remember a specific time? As you go back to that time now, go right back to that time, float down into your body and see what you saw, hear what you heard, and really feel the feelings of feeling totally fearful.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then I would have her touch her knuckles for that one. Okay, so then yeah, I'm gonna have you bring your finger to your first knuckle. And then okay, now I'm gonna do it again. Can you remember a time when you felt totally fearful?
Yes.
Okay, now I'm gonna have you go back to a time, float down into your body and see what you saw, hear what you heard, and really feel the feelings of feeling totally fearful. And then I'm gonna have you bring your finger to your knuckle and release. Okay. Okay, now we're going to move on to the next one, which is ease. Can you remember a time when you felt totally at ease?
Yes.
Okay, now I want you to go back to that time, go right back to that time, float down into your body, you see, hear what you heard, and really feel the feelings of feeling totally at ease. And then she's the same finger or a different finger? Different, okay. I'm gonna have you bring your different finger to your middle knuckle. And release. Now, can you remember a time when you've taken action? Okay. I want you to remember that specific time, and as you go back to that time now, go right back to that time, float down into your body and see what you saw, hear what you heard, and really feel the feelings of taking action. And you're gonna bring your third finger to your third knuckle and let go. Now, can you remember a time when you felt totally confident? Yes. Okay, sorry. I don't know if it's my Wi-Fi. I want you to go back to that time now. Go right back to that time. Float down into your body and see what you see, hear what you heard, and really feel the feelings of totally feeling confident. Then you'll bring your forefinger to your fourth knuckle and release. Okay. So each state, break and state between each one. Make sure the client goes into each one. Okay. Chain each state together. Fire one, and when number one is at peak, add number two. Okay. How do you do the firing between the states?
You kind of did it naturally because your Wi-Fi went out and you stopped to ask me questions and different things. So that's basically, you would have put down fear. And then you
Okay.
would have been like, oh, that's a nice headband. And then you would have, so that's called breaking states. But
Okay.
you did it naturally.
I'm gonna write that down.
Okay.
Okay. So then now would be in 13.
Yeah, you asked questions like, oh, do I put on that other knuckle, or you did different things there. So it happened naturally.
So I'm going to, so how do I, okay, so it says, then I just go to 13, fire, present state, anchor. It's how I'm not gonna find the state automatically. That should immediately go into each state at the end of the state. So I'm going to fire off the fair anchor, and notice that you immediately go into each state at the end of the state.
Did you have her test them?
No.
So have her test them to make sure that they work. And then after you have her test them, then you're gonna have her go to number one. And once that peaks, then you're gonna have her go to two. And then once that peaks, you're gonna have her go to three. And once that peaks, you're gonna have her go to four, because you need to chain them.
Okay. And then, so to test them, she just puts her hand on there. No. Okay. All right, Andrea, I'm gonna have you test your anchors. So first we're gonna do fair. Go ahead and put your finger to your knuckle and release. Okay. Now we're gonna do ease. Put your second finger to your second knuckle and release. And then we're gonna do taking action. Put your third finger to your third knuckle and release. And then we're going to do confidence. Put your fourth finger to your fourth knuckle and release. Okay. Now, peak add 2 minutes. Right, you stay fire one, and when one is at peak. Okay, so now we're going to I'm gonna have you put your finger to your first knuckle. Number one. And then as that it's on peak. So do I ask her when it's at peak, or do I just look at?
You should lead. When you see that she's there, then you tell her to go to the next, because normally you would be doing it, but since you can't, you have to talk her through what you want her to do.
Okay, so I'm gonna have you put your first finger to your first knuckle. Okay, now the second finger to your second knuckle. Your third finger to your third knuckle. And your fourth to your fourth knuckle.
Okay, so it's one at a time. You fire the first when that, because right now you're basically canceling them out. You're having them all. You do one at a time. From there, when you activate that, then you want her to go to the next. And then once that, then you go to the next. And then that, you go to the next. It's the same thing like when you did your collapse, how you did fire one off and then you did the other. You're doing the same thing, but you're just chaining them. I'm sorry, I think you're muted. I was trying to unmute myself and I might have muted you.
Do I have her release before she goes to the second one then, and then the
Correct.
third?
Yep,
Okay.
so she presses down on one. When that's at peak, she then press down on two. When she
Okay.
reaches peak there, then she presses down on three. And then when she's there, then she presses down on four.
Okay.
So it's,
Okay, so we're gonna do it again. I'm gonna have you put your first finger to your first knuckle and release. And we're going to put the second finger to your second knuckle and release. We're going to put your third finger to your third knuckle and release. And your last finger to your fourth knuckle and release. I'm going to, fire off the procrastination anchor, and notice that you immediately go into each state at the end state. So is that what we just did? No.
nope. So now she's just gonna go back to that fear state and
Okay.
press that to see if she works through those all the states. But she should end quickly at confidence. So she should be able to fire off her fear, but feel
then-
confidence because she's
Okay.
trained all those states.
Okay, so I'm gonna have you bring your first finger to your first knuckle. And then you should immediately go into each state at the end of that state and release. Now, how do you feel about the old problem you used to have? How is it different now?
You're muted.
Too much noise in the background, sorry, these kids. How I feel now, I feel that I believe in myself. I feel like now I believe in myself that I don't have to be fearful.
Okay.
So I feel more confident, more secure.
Now, can you think of a time in the future, which if it had happened in the past, would you have fear? And now tell me what happens instead.
I just go for it. Not worrying about what anyone has to say. We're all human. We're all human, and we're just here trying to just be ourselves, right? That's the whole point, to be ourselves. So now it's just taking action and just getting right into it.
Okay.
Excellent. Yay! Look at you, Shamika, making change in folks' lives. So,
Right?
Taisha, I know you have to go here in the next 5 to 6 minutes. Did you want to try to get yours done, or will you just partner up with someone later?
Yeah, I can try.
Okay, perfect. Shamika, you did an awesome job.
Thank you.
I want to give you some feedback so that Taisha can see this. So when you're doing the knuckles, you have them use all their hands. And while they're pressing down on the first one, then they press down on the second and then release the first, press down on the second, press down on the third, and then, and so on, because you're chaining them. It's not just fire off and then fire off. It's fire off,
Press, and then
press, let go, fire off, press down, let go. And you want to do this quickly because the same instance that we want them to pass through and get from fear to confidence in that one button, we want to do that the same thing. Once we've already anchored in those things, we wanted to do it. So our pace in this means everything. Go ahead, Miss Taisha. If you go ahead and just do Shamika, that would be great.
Okay. So my book is on my phone.
Okay.
Okay. Let me get it. Can y'all still see me?
No, but I think it's just as long as you can see Shamika, that's all that makes the difference.
Yeah, I can still see her.
Okay, that's it. That's perfect. I mean, we want to see your pretty face and all, but you know what I mean.
Thanks. You're frozen. You're the only one that's on the screen.
Who,
It was
me?
frozen. Uh-huh.
Oh, poor thing.
It could be the area that I'm in.
It might
Like
be.
it's
Look, I charge for steel shots now. Don't do it.
Yeah, I'm gonna see if it'll, yeah, I think it's the area one. And this is on 128, right?
Correct.
Okay. Okay, all
Oh,
right.
if it's on, Shamika, can you say something?
Yeah, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Did that help? It changed to Shamika now?
No. No, it's just still. Okay, now I see movement, but it's just showing you at this time.
Okay, yes, all right. All right, let's see,
Okay, I'll get started.
Okay.
Okay. So, Shamika, can I have you to identify the problem that you may have at this time?
Yes, give me to think. I would say security.
Security, okay. And decide on the positive state at, oh, do I supposed to say that?
Yeah.
Okay, and decide on the positive state at the end of security.
So confident.
Confidence, okay, security and confidence. Can I get unconscious permission? Is it all right with your unconscious mind for you to let go of this problem
Yes.
and stay today and for you to be consciously aware of it?
Yes.
And can I get conscious permission in just a moment where you're going to do a process called chaining anchors? And that means I'll need to touch you on, or you'll need to touch your knuckles.
Yes.
So I'm gonna get you to touch your knuckles. And so decide what intermediate states are needed to lead to the end state. You're dealing with security. So what gets you out of security?
I would say, let's see. Detachment.
Detachment. Okay, good. And what gets you out of detachment?
I would say one word, silence.
Silence. So we have security, detachment, silence. Good. What gets you out of silence?
I feel like, okay, can you explain that a little? Sorry.
Yes. So I know earlier you mentioned confidence.
Yeah.
Would you say that gets you out of silence, or do you have, is there something else in mind that gets you out of silence?
Yeah, I would say confidence.
Okay. Make sure the chain is different than how they already do it. How they do it is now not working. So makes no sense to use it. Is this how you try to do it now?
Yes.
Okay. Good. Let's find a new way you can go from security to, I'm sorry, I'm going by memory here. You said security to
Confidence.
confidence. You gave me 4.
Yeah. So
Security to detachment
mhm.
to,
Or sorry,
Silence to
insecurity.
confidence.
yeah, insecurity to detachment to silence and then confidence. So what else could you do different? What else would you go out of the state? Hold on, am I reading this right? Oh yeah, good. Let's find a new way you can go from insecurity, detachment, silence, and confidence that's different from how you already do it. What else will get you out of this state?
So I would say from insecurity to I would say affirmations.
Oh, that's good.
And so what would get me so then I say what would get me out of affirmations? Okay. I would say meditation, which would help build my confidence.
Mm-hmm. And do you have two more that you can think of? We said silence and confidence.
No, she just did it. She said from insecurity to affirming, from affirming to motivation, from motivation to confidence.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. And so we're going to get into each state as you elicit and anchor each state separately, beginning with the present state through the end state. You may have to stack all states to get it high intensity. Yes. Okay. So this is where I have her to get her knuckles right, to get her hand up so we can do the order, like the knuckles part.
So yes, this is where you're going to stack each state.
Okay.
On each different knuckle, yes.
Okay, I'm kind of nervous. So we said affirmations, motivation, and
I think
yeah,
Shamika said meditation. So
meditation,
insecurity, affirmation, meditation to confidence.
Thank you. Thank you. So we're gonna stack those knuckles. If I can get you. Sorry, yeah, I'm not doing well at this. One moment. Okay. So can you remember a time when you felt totally affirmed?
I think the first one was insecure.
Yeah, you got to do the negative first.
Okay. Can you remember a time when you felt totally insecure?
Yeah.
Can you remember a specific time as you go back to the time now? Go right back to the time, flow down into your body and see what you saw, hear what you heard, and really feel the feelings of feeling totally insecure.
Okay.
Now, break state. Can you remember a time when you felt totally affirmed?
Yeah.
Am I going back to all the negatives or do I go from the negative to the positive?
You're gonna go in the same order that she gave it to you. So she went from, from there, she goes from fear to affirming, from affirming to meditative. She want to be in a meditative state. And then from meditation state then she's going to be in a confident state.
Okay. So, because I know you said I had to say the negative ones first in that order. And do I go back and do the positive ones in that order?
Yeah, not the, I'm sorry, and I should have used it wrong. I should say the, and let me use the problem state. So you want to go from problem state to whatever was next, to whatever was next, to whatever was next.
Okay,
The
okay,
others, her old way of doing it, we just threw that in the trash, and we're now
Okay.
helping her chain the new way of doing it, because we don't want her to chain the old way because it didn't work for her.
okay, okay, thank you.
Yeah.
And that's what that break state means? Okay, perfect.
After, after you do the insecure, then you break state, and then you stack the affirming state, and then after that you break state, and then you stack the meditative state, and then you break state, and then you stack the confident state, and then you break state.
Got it. Okay. So now can you remember a time when you felt in that you were totally in meditation?
Yeah.
Can you remember a specific time as you go back to that time now? Go right back to the time, flow down into your body and see what you saw, hear what you heard, and really feel the feelings of feeling totally in meditation.
Yeah.
Now break state. Can you remember a time when you felt totally confident?
Mm-hmm.
Can you remember a specific time?
Yeah.
As you go back to that time now, go right back to the time, flow down into your body and see what you saw, hear what you heard, and really feel the feelings of feeling totally confident. Okay. And so we're gonna chain each state together, firing one. So the first one is affirmations.
Insecurity.
Oh, so we go back to the problem states. Okay, the first one is insecurity. Yeah, insecurity. And then, sorry, I know you said silence, but it was one that came before then. I'm sorry, you cut out.
Affirmations.
Yeah, insecurity, affirmations. Silence.
Or no, meditation.
Meditation. And I don't know what I'm actually doing on this part. So we state the problem one, and then we build the other three.
Yes, so basically, you start off with the problem state because that's what they're experiencing. And they're trying to move from that problem state to the positive state. And so it's important that you stack the problem state, then you've stacked the next one from that. So she wants to go from feeling insecure to affirming, being in an affirmed state. From that firm state, she wants to go in and she wants to then be in the meditative state. And then from the meditative state, she wants to then, that's where she finds her confidence.
Oh, okay, I like that.
And
okay.
And the thing of the matter is, you're just in test. So now you just have her take the fingers and just press the buttons to make sure that the intensity is there. And then from there, then you can go in and she already gets the concept on how you then chain those states. because you want them to be together, because you want them to kind of glide. And then you
Right.
want it to get to the point where they basically skip on through that other stuff, and where she goes from, oh, I feel, she touches her insecure anchor, and because it's chained now to confidence, she doesn't even need to touch these other anchors because now it's chained from here.
Insecure to confidence. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I think I got the gist of it. Thank you for explaining it. I feel more confident now.
Yes, yeah, no, and I get, like, this is the first time and it doesn't make sense, but like, this is why it's important that as we test on each other. This is what this is for. You don't come here and think you got to get anything right, wrong, or indifferent. This is the place where it's designed where you make your mistakes here. And that's why I get to show up and correct you in love and fun
Yes.
and laughter.
Yes. Shamika, would you mind if we do this again outside of like the training right now?
Yeah, we can. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
All right. I'm asking, hey, Erica,
She
can
left.
you hear me? Oh, she did. She was still, oh, no wonder she didn't listen to, okay. So what gets to happen is Andrea will now do it on you, and then everyone would have had a chance. So you want to stick with your same insecure into confidence?
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Okay. So I'm doing Shamika, right? I'm gonna be.
That's correct.
Okay. Perfect.
Come through, coach. Come through.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Return her the favor.
Yeah. Most definitely. Most definitely. Okay. Perfect. Shamika, can you identify the problem? Can you identify the problem that you have at this time?
Insecurity.
Okay. And what positive state do you want at the end?
Confidence.
Confidence. Okay, so we have insecurity, and the end is confidence. Okay. Is it okay? Is it all right with your unconscious mind for you to let go of this problem state today and for you to be consciously aware of it?
Yeah.
Okay. In just a moment, we're going to do a process called chaining anchors. And that means you would need to touch your knuckles. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Perfect. So you secure, what gets you out of that state? What gets you out of insecurity?
Detachment.
Okay. Good. And what gets you out of detachment?
Silence.
Okay. Good. What gets you out of silence?
Confidence.
Confident. Okay, maybe you should be changing different than how they like. Okay. Is this how you try to do it now?
Yes.
Okay. Good. Let's find a new way you can go from insecurity to confidence. That's different from how you already do it. So what else will get you out of insecurity?
Affirmations.
Affirmation. Okay. And then what will get you out of affirmations?
Meditation.
Meditation. Okay, and what will get you out of meditation?
Confident.
Confident. Okay. Get into each state as you elicit and anchor each state separately, beginning with the present state through the end. Okay, get into each state as you elicit and anchor each state separately, beginning with the present state through the end state. You may have to stack all states to get a high intensity. Okay. Okay, so Shamika, can you remember a time when you felt totally insecure?
Yes.
Can you remember a specific?
Yes.
Okay, so as you go back to that time now, go back to that time, float down into your body and see what you saw, hear what you heard, and really feel the feelings of being insecure.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Your hair is so cute today. I like the two
Thank-
pigtails. Reminds me when I was a little girl, I used to have my hair like that. Okay, so can you remember a time when you felt totally affirmed?
Yes.
Can you remember a specific time?
Yes.
Okay, so as you go back to that time now and go right back to that time, float down into your body, see what you saw, hear what you heard, and really feel the feelings of feeling totally affirmed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Is that a tree on your shirt?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, okay. That's nice. Can you remember a time when you totally felt meditative?
Yes.
Okay. Can you remember a specific time?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I want you to go back to that time now, go right back to that time, float down into your body, see what you saw, hear what you heard, and feel the feelings of feeling totally meditative.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What does your shirt say?
Empress Create.
Oh, nice, Empress. You're Empress. Okay, love that. Can you remember a time when you totally felt confident? Can you remember a specific time?
Yeah.
So as you go back to that time now, go right back to that time, float down into your body, see what you saw, hear what you heard, and feel the feelings of feeling totally confident.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Is that a ring on your finger?
Yeah, it
Is
is.
your right hand? Is your right hand? Okay. Okay. Nice. Okay, so I'm gonna test each state. So I want you, yeah, I'm gonna test each state. So I want you to put your first finger on your first knuckle. Okay. And put your second finger on your second knuckle. Release. Put your third finger on your third knuckle. Okay. Release. And your fourth finger on your fourth knuckle. Okay, you can release. Okay, so I'm going to fire off the first state, the first anchor, and then when number one is at peak, add 2 and then release. Okay, perfect. So we're gonna fire off the first state. So when you put your first finger on your first knuckle, then I want you to put your second finger on your second knuckle and release the first knuckle. Then I want you to put your third finger on the third knuckle, then release the second knuckle. Then I want you to put the fourth finger on the fourth knuckle and release the third knuckle. Okay, perfect. test, fire, present, anchor. The client should end up in the final decisive. I'm going to fire off the procrastination anchor. I mean, sorry, the insecurity anchor. I noticed that you immediately go into each state at the end of the state. Okay. So we're going to that space again, ChaVonne? Okay. And we're doing it the same way as lift and like we're gonna one at a time.
Nope, just the one, because you've now chained them, you've connected them.
Okay, so now okay.
So now
perfect,
she
okay.
should be able to just touch the insecure and it should take her to confidence.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so I want you to put your first finger on your first knuckle. Now, how do you feel? Release. Now, how do you feel about that old problem you used to have? How is it different now?
I feel outspoken, secure in myself, and say like, you know, what I'm thinking, and yeah.
Okay, that's amazing. So can you think of a time in the future, which if it happened in the past, you would have insecurity, and now tell me what happens instead.
So basically I'm more what I'm thinking and just who I am as a person.
So basically being yourself, being authentic.
Mhm.
That's amazing. Great job, Shamika.
Yay! Great job yourself, Andrea. Like, oh my
Thank you.
goodness. So,
Thank you.
again, I'm going to give you the same feedback that I gave Shamika. It's the timing of it all. It's because you want them to go ahead and move through it, as well as when you test, that's when you want to have like go. And then once you're all done, when you were having her go back to the problem state to check to make sure that it processed through to confidence, you know, ask like, okay, what are you feeling? Did you go from insecure to confident? And that's what you're having her test. And if she's saying, oh, well, I'm like insecure, but I kind of get stuck at the affirmations, I don't quite make it to confidence. That's when you go back and then you just put on again, meditative and confidence. And you might have to do like, you know, ask her, you know, 2 more times. Can you remember a time when you totally felt in a meditative state? Go down, float down, and then break state and have her do it again, and then go on to the next one. I wouldn't even break state in between. I would ask her twice and have her put the meditative down and then have her put in and then go back and then chain them from beginning, from insecure to affirmative to meditative to confidence. Because in this one, because this is a new state and a new combination of this state, you might have, that's where they were saying you might have to go and restack them again. That's what that one line is.
Okay.
So, again, you want them to feel it with the most intensity.
So I would ask her, basically, do you feel, like when you touch on the first knuckle, do you feel that you went from insecure to confident? So I'll ask that before, like the test would be, that's number 14.
Or you can be that director. You can say, you know, what do you feel like? Yeah.
Okay.
And wait for it. And if they're like, no, it's still just insecure, then that's how you just know you need to go back and really pile on them going back to times where they felt those states.
Okay.
And then once you go and pile it on, then you go back and you rechain it, because now you're chaining again, and they have it at a higher intensity.
Okay, perfect. And I guess the higher the intensity is, we'll be able to feel it, the emotion more exactly. Okay.
Yep. And it's the same thing. And when we learn the first week, we learn to stack them. The same thing, we learn how to, you know, have one state on one knuckle and then dissipate it on the other. The only thing here is we didn't cancel it out. We added on to it and we connected them this time instead of canceling one out. We connected the states because that's the hints of chaining the anchors versus we didn't collapse it where we canceled one out by overpowering it with the other.
Okay.
Because if you think about it in the collapsed anchor, we stacked the second one so they were super powerful. And we just stacked one negative state. And so that's why we were able to overpower it because we stacked it. We had the positive knuckle stacked with really positive states. Where here, they're all equal and we're now, we're not canceling out the insecurity, but we're just now using a different way of getting from, we're chaining her, going from insecure to confident.
But this process, the chaining is a bit more, we have to go more faster than we did. The other ones, we kind of like, we waited for the emotion to be at peak before they release. So that was the same.
And here's the thing. That's why you want to make sure that they are at their a good intensity, because you want them to be able to, you want to be able to move. You still want to, you know, when I'm chaining them, I want it to go, I hit the first one, she peaks, then I press down on the second. She's starting to peak at the second, I'm letting go of the first. Because that's the, as I'm in insecurity, I'm riding that wave, and now I'm shifting over to affirmations. And so now I'm affirming myself. And now I'm at the peak of me affirming myself. And now I'm moving into meditative state. And now I'm peaking at meditative state. And now I'm going into confident state. And so now they're chained together.
Okay.
And so now when you go to, I'm moving into insecurity, to affirming, to meditation, to confidence. You see how fast I was able to shift into that?
Yes.
And so now what's going to happen when I truly test it now, because I've changed it, is I'm going to go, oh, insecure. Oh, let me go into confidence.
Okay. Thank you for the feedback. Yeah.
All right. Are there any questions? Great job, everybody. Great job. I can tell that you guys are getting this so much more because of your questions, the clarity in your questions, where I can remember sometimes you wasn't even sure what to ask, but now because you're getting it, you understand, you guys are really getting comfortable with following those scripts. It's amazing. Like, to see how far you all have come is just simply amazing. It's something to see. It's something to see. I'm gonna leave it there, so because we all got other things to do. Y'all came in giving love. I want us leaving out giving love. The report that I get to go back to Dr. Nicolia and how y'all support each other. Like, when I tell you, y'all make my job so much easier, because y'all holding each other down, and I love that so much. So I don't feel alone. It's not a heavy lift for me, like I gotta come in here and I gotta build y'all up, because y'all building each other up, and it builds me up, so I'm able to give y'all so much more. So thank you guys for that, honestly, from the bottom of my heart. And I can't wait to work with each and every one of you guys more and more as y'all keep bringing money into your business.
Right.
That I love.
Get into that bag, okay? Get into that bag.
Correct.
Yeah.
But then, like you said, or I think it was something that you wrote in one of the posts, Andrea, but then we get to give God his glory for it.
Yes.
So
Yes,
That's the amazing part. It's like,
Yes.
man, oh man, oh man. So
yes.
I'll leave us at that. And thank you guys, each and every one of you guys made today's training what it is. So that's it. I can't wait to hear feedback from Taisha and Shamika getting together on how that went. And you guys just keep getting better and better. It's amazing to see.
Yes, yes.
All
All
right.
right. It was
Bye.
awesome. Have a
Bye.
good evening, ladies. Bye.